The phone in room 108 rings at 3:33 a.m. every night. My manager told me to never answer it. Last week I picked up, and the voice on the other end knew things about me that nobody alive should know. My name is Derek. I work as a night auditor at the Silverton Hotel in downtown. It's an old building, built in 1952, 8 floors with 120 rooms. Used to be upscale back in the day. Now it's more budget-friendly, but still well-maintained. The lobby has original Art Deco fixtures, and the hallways have that patterned carpet that's designed to hide stains. I took the job 3 months ago because I needed something low stress. I used to be an EMT, but I left the field after a bad call. Needed time to reset, figure things out. Night audit seemed perfect, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., completely alone except for sleeping guests, time to study for my nursing degree during the quiet hours. The work is simple. Check in late arrivals, handle the occasional guest complaint, run audit reports, do security walks every hour through all 8 floors. Most nights, nothing happens. I sit at the front desk, do my coursework, and count down until morning shift arrives. The building feels different at night. The old elevator groans between floors. Radiator pipes knock and hiss. Hallway lights are on motion sensors, so they flicker on as you walk and go dark behind you. It's unsettling at first, but you get used to it. Room 108 is on the first floor, end of the east wing hallway, furthest point from the lobby. I learned about it on my first day. My manager handed me a sealed envelope with a key inside and said quietly, "This is the master key for room 108. Only use it in an absolute emergency." I asked, "What kind of emergency?" He looked at me seriously and replied, "The kind where you have no other choice. And if you ever do need to go in there, don't stay longer than you have to, and don't look at the bathtub." I laughed nervously. He didn't smile. My manager continued, his voice firm. "I'm serious, Derek. 3 night auditors before you didn't follow the rules. 1 quit after the first night. 1 had to be sedated and removed by paramedics. The 3rd one, we found him in room 108. He'd gone in there during his shift. When we got the door open, he was sitting on the bed, holding the phone receiver, staring at the wall. Wouldn't speak, wouldn't move. Ambulance took him to psychiatric care. He's still there. Then he gave me the rules. 5 of them, all about room 108. Room 108's phone will ring at 3:33 a.m. every night. Do not answer it. Let it ring until it stops. It always stops after exactly 7 rings. Do not enter room 108 during your shift for any reason. If a guest reports an issue in that room, note it in the log and handle it in the morning. If you hear knocking from inside room 108 during your rounds, keep walking. Do not stop. Do not investigate. Room 108 is never booked for guests. If someone requests it specifically, tell them it's unavailable for maintenance. If the phone in room 108 rings at any time other than 3:33 a.m., evacuate the building immediately and call me. I should have asked more questions, but I needed the job, and honestly, I thought it was some kind of liability thing. Maybe someone died in there and they didn't want to deal with lawsuits. If you've ever worked alone in a hotel at night, you know how sounds carry differently. Every creak feels louder. Every shadow looks like movement. The silence between sounds feels heavy, like it's waiting for something to fill it. My first week was quiet. At 3:33 a.m. on my first night, I heard it, a phone ringing. Not the one at my desk, somewhere distant, down the east wing hallway. I counted the rings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then it stopped. Room 108. I made a note in the log and went back to studying. That was it. Week 2. During my 2 a.m. security walk, I passed room 108. The door was closed and locked like always. But as I walked by, I heard water running inside. Not a drip. Full pressure, like someone had turned on the bathtub faucet. I stopped and put my hand on the door. It was ice cold. Way colder than it should be. I checked the thermostat panel nearby. It showed 72 degrees for the hallway. But that door felt like a freezer. I remembered the rules. Do not investigate. Keep walking. So I did. Week 3. Things got stranger. At 3:33 a.m., the phone rang. I was at the front desk doing paperwork. I counted the rings from where I sat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It stopped. But then I heard one more ring. Faint, distant, coming from down the east wing hallway. I realized what happened. The phone in room 108 had rung 8 times total. 7 times transmitted through the hotel phone system that I could hear from my desk. And one more time, the 8th ring that only rang physically in the room itself. Why would it ring 1 extra time just in the room? Week 4, I made my first mistake. I'd been up for nearly 24 hours straight studying for an exam. I was exhausted, running on coffee and stress. At 3:33 a.m., a phone started ringing. I picked up the receiver at the front desk without thinking, my brain on autopilot from exhaustion. A voice spoke before I could say anything. A voice I recognized immediately. My ex-partner's voice. The one from the EMT call. The call where I froze. The call where he died because I couldn't move fast enough. The voice said calmly, "You could have saved me, Derek. You know that, right? You had time. You just didn't try hard enough." My blood went cold. I checked the phone display. The call was coming from room 108. The voice continued in that familiar tone. "Come to 108. I'll show you what you did wrong. I'll show you exactly where you failed. Don't you want to understand? Don't you want to know why you let me die?" I slammed the receiver down. My hands were shaking. I stared at the phone, heart racing. It rang again immediately. I didn't answer. It rang 7 times and stopped. I sat there in the silence, trying to catch my breath, telling myself it was stress, exhaustion, my mind playing tricks. But I knew what I'd heard. That was his voice, exactly as I remembered it. The same inflection, the same rhythm. I found the hotel's incident log from 1987 later that night, buried in the back office files. November 3rd, 3:33 a.m. Front desk received a call from room 108. Male guest, Thomas Crane, confessed to killing his wife, Rebecca Crane. Officers arrived at 3:47 a.m. and found both deceased. Wife drowned in the bathtub. Husband dead from self-inflicted gunshot. Phone receiver off the hook. There was more in the file. A cassette tape labeled Room 108. Evidence, the 3rd of November 1987. I found an old tape player in the storage closet and listened to it. The recording started with a phone ringing, then someone picking up. The front desk clerk's voice, groggy and confused, said, "Front desk, how can I help you?" Then a man's voice, flat and emotionless, like someone reading from a script, stated, "This is room 108. I killed my wife. She's in the bathtub. I'm going to kill myself now. Send police." The line went dead. That should have been the end of the recording, but it wasn't. There were 3 more seconds of tape. Silence. Then a voice, the same flat voice, whispered something before the tape cut off. It whispered my name. Derek will understand soon. But that recording was from 1987. I wasn't even born until 1995. How could a recording from 1987 know my name? Week 5 escalated. The phone started ringing at 3:33 a.m. but didn't stop after 7 rings. 8, 9, 10. It kept going. I unplugged it at the switchboard, physically disconnected the line from room 108. The ringing stopped. I went back to my desk, relieved. Then, 5 minutes later, the phone at my desk started ringing. I checked the caller ID. It displayed Room 108. I picked up cautiously and said into the receiver, "Front desk." Static. Then a voice whispered through the noise, "Unplug me all you want, Derek. I'm not calling through the wires." The line went dead. Guests started complaining. Room 203 called at 4 a.m. saying someone had phoned them, claiming to be my mother, asking for me. My mother died when I was 16. Room 405 said someone called, using my childhood nickname, the one only my family knew. I called my actual mother's sister to confirm. My mom was definitely dead, had been for over a decade. So how was room 108 using her voice? During my rounds at 3 a.m. one night, I approached room 108 for my standard security check. The door was ajar. That wasn't right, it was always locked, and nobody had the key except me and the manager. Cold air poured out into the hallway. I could see my breath. And from inside, I heard water running at full pressure. Then knocking. 3 knocks, pause. 3 knocks, pause. 1 knock. I should have walked away, but I looked inside without entering. The lights were on. The phone was off the hook, receiver dangling from the nightstand. And from that receiver, a voice spoke loudly enough for me to hear from the doorway, my ex-partner's voice calling out, "Derek, I'm in the bathtub. I've been waiting for you. Come see me. Please. I need your help." I backed away and kept walking, following the rules, but my hands were shaking for the rest of my rounds. I reviewed the security camera footage later. We have 8 cameras. Lobby, parking lot, side entrances, back entrance. None in the hallways. But there's one positioned at the end of the east wing that catches the area near room 108. I pulled up the footage from earlier that night. At 3:32 a.m., the hallway was empty. At 3:33 a.m., the camera showed pure static. At 3:34 a.m., the feed was clear again. but in the single frame between 333 and 334, there was a figure standing in the doorway of room 108. I zoomed in as much as the grainy footage would allow. It was me. Same uniform, same posture, same height. But I was at the front desk at 3:33 a.m. I never went to room 108 that night. How was there footage of me standing there? My last night working at the Silverton, everything came to a head. It was 3:30 a.m. I was walking past room 108 during my hourly rounds. The door was wide open, lights on inside, phone ringing continuously, water running full blast in the bathroom, and a voice calling out, not from the phone, from inside the bathroom itself. My ex-partner's voice, strained and desperate, shouted, "Derek, I'm hurt! I need help! Please! Like, you should have helped me that night!" It was my EMT training overriding my common sense. Someone needs help. You don't ignore that. You can't ignore that. I stepped inside room 108. The door slammed shut behind me. The lock engaged with a heavy click. The phone stopped ringing immediately. The water stopped running. Complete silence. Then the voice spoke from the bathroom, no longer shouting, calm and quiet. "Come see, Derek. Come look in the water. I'll show you what you did." I walked slowly toward the bathroom. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't stop myself. The bathtub was full of water, dark water, too dark to see through, but the surface was clear like glass. And in that surface, I saw it. That night, the emergency call. My partner on the ground, bleeding. Me standing there, frozen, unable to move, unable to help. But I wasn't seeing it from my perspective. I was seeing it from his, looking up at me, watching my face, seeing the fear in my eyes, the paralysis, the moment I failed him. The water showed me what he saw as he died. Then the face in the water changed. It wasn't my partner anymore. It was me, drowned, eyes open and empty, hair floating, staring up from the bottom of the tub. The phone rang once behind me. I spun around. The receiver was in my hand. I didn't remember picking it up. A voice spoke, my own voice, distorted and hollow, stated coldly, "You didn't save him because you were afraid. And now you'll stay here with all of us." Everyone who answered, everyone who came inside. We're all still here, Derek. In room 108. Forever. The lights went out. Complete darkness. I couldn't see anything, couldn't find the door. I screamed, pounded on the walls, the door, anything I could reach. I don't know how long I was in there. Minutes, hours. Time didn't work right. When the hotel manager arrived for the morning shift at 7 a.m., I'd called him in a panic at 6, barely coherent, saying I was locked in room 108. He found me sitting on the bed, phone receiver in my hand, staring at the bathtub. He kept asking me questions, but I couldn't answer, couldn't speak, couldn't look away from that bathtub. Paramedics came, took me to the hospital. 3 days of evaluation. Psychiatrist said acute stress reaction, post-traumatic episode triggered by working alone at night. She insisted I hadn't actually gone into room 108. I'd had a panic attack in the hallway and my traumatized brain created a false memory to process my guilt. But I know what I saw. I know where I was. I quit the hotel, moved to a different city, got a new job at a hospital, back in healthcare like I'd wanted. Night shift in the emergency department. Fresh start. 6 months later, I thought I'd finally moved on. Then it happened. 3:33 a.m. I was at the nurse's station doing paperwork. The phone rang. I picked it up without thinking. A voice spoke, the same flat, emotionless voice from the 1,987 recordings, stated mechanically, "Room 108 isn't a place, Derek. It's a frequency, a moment in time. 3:33 a.m. And everyone who answers becomes part of it. You answered. So now, every night at 3:33, we'll call, wherever you are, whatever phone is near you. We're not in the hotel. We're in the moment. And you're part of us now." The line went dead. I checked the caller ID with trembling hands. It displayed room 108, but I was 200 miles away from the Silverton Hotel. And this hospital doesn't have a room 108. Since then, every night at exactly 3:33 a.m., whatever phone is near me starts ringing. My cell phone, office phones, even pay phones I walk past on the street. I don't answer anymore, but I hear it. 7 rings, then silence, then one more ring that only I can hear. I don't know what happens on the 8th ring, but last night, I found out I'm about to. 3:33 a.m. The phone rang, 7 times like always. I was so exhausted I didn't think. My hand reached for it. On the 8th ring, I answered. Silence. Then breathing. My own breathing. Coming from the other end of the line. Then my voice whispered, "Check your bathroom, Derek." I hung up, sat frozen at my desk. I haven't gone home yet. I'm too afraid of what's waiting in my bathtub.